Green Room is written and directed by Jeremy Saulnier and stars Patrick Stewart, Anton Yelchin and Imogen Poots. A touring punk band stumbles upon a murder in a neo-Nazi skinhead bar and essentially must fight to escape with their lives still intact. This is 2/3 of an absolutely stunning film. For the first hour, or maybe just over an hour, this is a brilliant, unbelievably tense and at times genuinely, shockingly violent film. It had me absolutely glued to the screen as I saw what were genuinely believable characters being portrayed in understated but actually realistic ways, as these characters we saw giving in to the tension, the anger and the fear that was gradually rising and progressing in the film. In terms of performances, I do have to highlight Mark Webber as Daniel. For one thing, he just had a sort of a presence to him that the rest of the band lacked for me. But he had one scene, which I won't spoil the scene obviously, but it's such a small thing. But the fact that he is crying in that scene was amazing. I absolutely loved it. You also, of course, had Patrick Stewart playing about as far away from Picard as is physically possible, but he made a really good, really intimidating villain. I love the softly spoken, calm villain, and that is what you really got with Stewart. It was obvious he commanded the respect of everyone under him, and he was very effective in the role. I did mention that at times the film is shockingly violent, and that is accurate. I consider myself to have a pretty cast iron stomach. I love my horror films. I'm a gore nut, I'm a gore hound. But there's a couple of scenes in this film, especially one, again, not going to spoil it, but I have never shouted out in a cinema, ever. This got me so close, and I actually did audibly whisper, "Fuck," because I couldn't believe what had just happened on screen. I wasn't expecting it at all, and I really couldn't believe what just happened. You need a strong stomach for a couple of scenes in this film. You really, genuinely do. So why is the film only 2/3 brilliant? For the first hour, or maybe just over an hour, this is glorious. But for the last 20 to 30 minutes of the film, it does lapse into somewhat predictable film territory. The one thing this film hadn't been for the entire duration before the ending, was predictable. Then for that home stretch, it kind of is, and that was disappointing. That being said, I still think this is a great film. For 2/3, it's an absolutely fucking brilliant film. I just wish Saulnier had been able to finish the job off and had just maintained that level of quality to the very end. I will say, however, quickly that I did like one little bit in the film, that as soon as one of the band members say, "I've got a plan for a little joke," when they're playing a neo-Nazi skinhead bar, I knew they were going to play Nazi Punks Fuck Off. And they did. And that brought a smile to my face, that really did. I'll go into more detail into a couple of the scenes that really did affect me in the film in the spoiler section. Obviously, if you don't want to know about that yet, then thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Otherwise, I'll see you in the spoiler section. Welcome to the spoiler section. Now, there's only 3 things I actually want to talk about in this spoiler section, and 2 of them are in the same scene. And that scene in particular is the scene in which Daniel is rear naked choking and killing the thug, who is the skinhead thug, who is in the room keeping the band hostage, essentially. That scene was truly shocking and genuinely brilliant at the same time. The reasons I think that are the fact that this was the scene where I talked about the brilliance of Daniel crying. I thought that was amazing when he is killing the guy, slowly killing him through a rear naked choke. The fact that he is crying there makes that scene so much more human. He has been, throughout the throughout the film, really, he has been the very sort of tough, no-nonsense, somewhat borderline psychotic member of the band who will kick your ass for no reason. That scene suddenly becomes real, and he is actually killing a man. And because that realization is sinking in, he starts crying. That was absolutely brilliant. That is genuinely one of my favourite scenes that I've seen in a film this year. And I mean that. That was superb. And then immediately afterwards, we get the most shocking piece of violence that I think I've seen in a film so far this year, when he asks someone to test if the guy still tell me when he's out, and literally, I think it's Amber, I'm not sure, but I think it's Amber, gets the Stanley knife and literally splits the guy from there to there. Holy shit. I mean, that really, what I genuinely in the cinema went, fuck. I just didn't see it coming at all, and holy shit, that hit me. That really hit me hard. That I couldn't believe they had done that. The only other thing I want to cover is the last 20 to 30 minutes of the film, purely because I did feel like it lapsed a bit into predictability, essentially, if that's even a word. Because as soon as you get to the final two, Pat and Amber, something just triggered, and I just thought, they're surviving. Simple as that. There's going to be no more deaths of good guys. They're surviving. This film had been really unpredictable up to then. Good guys had died, and died unceremoniously, which I thought was fantastic. A really good touch. I mean, Daniel, literally, he had been the badass of the group. He jumps through a window and gets stabbed. Gets stabbed multiple times and is killed like that. As soon as that happened, I thought to myself, oh shit, they're actually killing people here. This is hardcore. This is good. But then that had continued for a good amount of time. But then once it got to those two, it just stopped, and just the energy levels dropped a bit for me, the tension dropped for me, and that was disappointing. Despite that last 20 to 30 minutes, I still think this is a great film. This is 2/3 of one of the best films I've seen in a long time. And despite that last 20 to 30 minutes, I would still heartily recommend this. You need the stomach to take it, but I would heartily recommend it to anyone who really wants a genuinely tense, violent film, because that's exactly what this is. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.